All right, gang, today we're going to be creating this train wheel. Yesterday we created the train body. Today in class we created the train wheel. So let's get started and jump right into it. So the very first thing we are going to do is we are going to create a new part studio inside of our toy train part studio. So create a new part studio, and we are going to be creating our sketch on the front plane. So Shift S to create your sketch. Choose that front panel and then zoom it around. All right, so here's how we're going to be doing this. Let me pull up the drawing. All right, so here is our drawing. We are going to be creating it using this cutout right here. Okay, we're going to draw this shape and then we are going to revolve it into that wheel. I know that may sound a little strange, but it's going to be a whole lot easier than drawing a whole bunch of circles over and over and over again. But we'll do that too in just a minute. So we're going to start with this long side right here, and I can see that from the top to the bottom of my shape is 1.125 inches. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose my line tool, and I'm going to start at my center point where I always do. I'm going to go straight up that center line and 1.125. That is our dimension. Hit escape, jump back over here, and we're going to go sideways now. I'm going to draw a line across 0.25 inches. So we've gone up 1.125. Now we are going to go across 0.25. And we are going to then come back down, and we are going to come down 0.375. So I'm going to choose my line tool, come down 0.375. I hit enter. And now I know this next one, I'm going to go in to the left 0.125. I'm going to come down 0.5. I'm going to go right back out the same distance that I came in, 0.125, then down to my origin line, and then across to my origin point, and my shape is going to turn gray, telling me that it is fully enclosed. And what I'll do now is I'm going to drag these out so that you can see these dimensions a little more clearly. You can pause the video right here, and this will allow you to get those dimensions and get that set. Okay, so 1.125 up, 0.25 over, 0.375 down, 0.125 over, 0.5 down, and then come back out 0.125, and then down to your origin line and back across. All right, so once we have done that, if you've unpaused it, now we're going to add our fillets. We have not finished our sketch yet. Do not finish your sketch. If you made the mistake and you finished your sketch, that's okay. Just come back over here in the origin panel, double click on sketch one, and it will open it right back up for you so that you can complete the next part. We are going to smooth out these edges before we finish our sketch. So I'm going to choose my sketch fillet, which is this one right here. And I'm going to choose this corner. And when I do, I'm going to click it, and I'm going to tell it 0.125 inches. And that's going to give me basically a half circle compared to our part. I'm still in my fillet tool, and now I'm going to choose this side, and I'm going to click again, and it's going to automatically do it the same as the other. Now I'm going to hit escape. And the reason I'm hitting escape is because I don't want to fillet these four corners the same as I did these two, okay, because the geometry won't work out. So I've gotten out of my fillet tool. Now I'm going to get back into it, and I'm going to choose this corner here. And you notice it automatically chooses it automatically chooses 0.125, which is not what I want. I want it to be 0.0625, and that's going to give me a smaller curve. All right, now I should be able to just single click this corner, hit my enter key twice, do the same thing down here, click this corner, enter key twice, click this corner, enter key twice. Okay, so what I have ended up doing is, let me drag these out so you can see. So you've got a fillet there of 0.063, and that is the same here, 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 and here. It's actually 0.0625, but it rounds up to 0.063 just so for the display. Okay, so now we have a long straight line on the edge, a nice smooth curve at the top, a straight line into an S curve, into a straight line, into an S curve, straight line down, and we came over to complete our shape. All right, so let me pull this out right here so you can see this. All right, so if you need to, you can pause and rewind, or you can continue. So right now I'm done with this sketch, so I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to throw it into an isometric view so that I can see. Then I'm going to zoom in, and I am going to come up here to the top left, and I'm going to choose revolve. And when I choose revolve, the first thing I have to do is I have to choose the face or the sketch region that I'm going to revolve. So I'm going to come over here, and as soon as my mouse gets on top of that, it's going to highlight yellow. So I'm going to click, and it's going to stay highlighted yellow. Sorry, ignore the announcement. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is choose revolve axis. So I'm going to click that red box. I'm going to choose this bottom axis down here, and as soon as I do, it's going to create my wheel, at which point I can click finish sketch, and I'm ready to move on to the next part. So I'm going to get rid of my work planes because they're going to get in my way just a little bit. And I am going to create a hole in the center of my hubcap. All right, so I'm going to click Shift S, and I'm going to start a sketch right there on that front panel. And I'm going to jump over here to my train wheel sketch, and I am going to look and see that this hole has a diameter of 0.28 inches, and it goes all the way through my wheel. All right, so sorry guys, maybe I can edit this out.
Media Center. Don't forget, we will have Trojan Nation Tech Collaboration. Mr. Benham will be presenting. And then also bring your money. We will have Auntie Anne's food truck here on campus. They'll probably get here between 10:30 and 10:45, and they should be here until at least 1 o'clock. So looking forward to tomorrow, and I hope we've had a few cash winners out there from today. Have a good evening.
All right, so I'm going to place a point right in the center. And I'm going to place that point, and I'm going to click Finish Sketch because that's all I needed to do. Now, you can't see that point because I'm still looking straight on, but if I spin this around a little bit, what you're going to see is now you can clearly see that point is right there. So I've finished my sketch. I'm going to choose my hole tool up here at the top, and I'm going to click that point. And when I do, I'm going to tell it that the diameter of my hole is 0.28. And I don't want it to be blind. I want it to go all the way through. So 0.28 inches in diameter all the way through. Click that checkbox, and we've got our hole. All right. Now we are going to come in here, and we are going to draw this little knob right here. That knob is the knob that is going to hold our follower arm that is going to operate. It's going to be what drives the front wheels. The back wheels are going to be driving the front wheels. Okay, so here's how we do that. We're going to create a circle, and our circle has a diameter of 0.25 inches. So I'm going to come back over to my Part Studio, and I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to create it on this flat part of my wheel. Okay. So I'm going to circle around, and if you note, I'm going to grab my center point circle, and every time I cross that center point right there, that center line, it's going to give me that dotted line letting me know that I am lined up with the center. I like that because that's going to allow me to make sure that I'm in the right spot. So I'm going to click that, drag it out 0.25 inches, and there. All right, so now I need to know how far from the center line I need to be. So I'm going to look back at my drawing and realize that that is 0.7 inches from the center of the wheel. So I'm going to choose my dimension tool. The center point of the wheel to the center point of my circle, 0.7 inches. And I am done with this sketch. Now it's time to extrude. All right, so I need to extrude that circle, that knob, so I'm going to choose extrude, Shift E, and I can either grab both of these individually, or I could simply come over here and click Sketch 3, but I grabbed them both, and I'm going to extrude those. 0.125, I think is the, nope, not 0.125. Let's go 0.25. There we go, 0.25. That's it. That's what we want. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch or Finish Extrude. Now I'm going to create a sketch on the end of this circle right here so that I can get that little knob that we need. And that little knob it has a diameter of 0.125. So I'm going to draw a center point circle in the middle of my knob. I get that little square letting me know that I'm directly in the center. 0.125. Hit enter. Finish the sketch. Slide it around a little bit so I can see the extrude. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to extrude that center, but I'm going to extrude that 0.125, which is perfect. And now I'm going to cut a hole into the middle of that circle. So I'm going to click Shift S to create a sketch on the end of that knob. And I'm going to drop myself a point, just like we did it earlier, right in that center point. I'm going to click Finish Sketch. And now I'm going to spin around just a little bit, grab my hole tool, select that knob. And if you notice, wow, so our last diameter we set was 0.28. That is way too big. So we're going to adjust this diameter and we're going to call it 0.0625. And that's going to give us a good diameter. We don't want to cut it all the way through. We want to cut it only 0.25 inches. So we're going to change through to blind. And then we're going to choose 0.25 inches. And now if you look, it goes down into the wheel, but it does not go through the wheel. We're going to hit Finish Sketch, and we are done with that part. And we've got this wheel almost complete. We've only got one more thing that we need to do, and that is we need to put our spokes in this wheel. All right, we've got 6 holes in the middle of this wheel. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to flip our part around. So right now it says that I'm looking at the right side of my wheel. So I'm going to grab this and flip it around to where I'm facing the back. I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to create a sketch on the back of my wheel. All right, so how I'm going to do this is we're going to draw some circles and lines, and then we're going to cut some stuff out. So we have 2 circles. This one is going to be, has a radius of 0.625, which tells me that my diameter is 1.25. And this circle has a radius of 0.375, which tells me that my diameter is 0.75, because remember, when you're working with half circles or partial circles, you're working with radiuses. When we're drawing complete circles, we're working with diameters. So coming back over to my part, I am going to create 2 center point circles. The first one is going to start at that midpoint, and it's going to come out 1.25 inches. Second circle is going to come out 0.75 inches from the same spot. Now I'm going to turn on my top plane. And the reason I'm turning on my top plane is because I need to be able to see this center line right here for a dimension that I need in just a second. So I've got my 2 circles. Now I'm going to draw 2 lines. Both of these lines are going to start at the midpoint and go straight out in a diagonal. It doesn't matter where, just so long as they are above the center line and they are not touching each other. Okay. Now I'm going to dimension these lines. So I'm going to tell it that I want the angle from this line and this line to be 15 degrees. I did that by choosing my dimension tool and then just selecting the two lines. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. This line to this line, and I want this angle to be 30 degrees. All right, so now we've got this done. All right, this is the shape that we want to keep, which means we don't need any of the rest of this. Okay, so we're going to use our trim tool to get rid of the excess that we do not need. So I'm going to choose my trim tool, which are the scissors up here. I'm going to get rid of this line and this line. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to get rid of my circle on the outside, my circle on my lower circle on the outside, and then these last two lines right here, so that all I am left with is this shape. All right, because that's the spoke that I want. So here's how I am going to select it. I'm going to select that by just clicking inside of it, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose my circular pattern tool. Okay, when I click that, oh, that's right. Let me do this again. So what I tried to do was to click that and tell it I wanted a circular pattern. That doesn't work. You have to actually click the lines individually, select all 4 lines. Once you've selected those lines, then you can come up and click your circular pattern tool. If you don't see circular pattern, you might see linear pattern. Okay, just click that little drop box, grab that circular pattern, and what you're going to notice is it's going to give you 3 automatically. Right here, this 3, that's telling you how many it's making. We want 6, so I'm going to double click on that 3. I'm going to change it to 6 and hit enter, and now you can see I have 6 of them around, and I just come over here and left click, and that's going to create them. I can hit escape, finish my sketch, and now it is time to extrude. I can get rid of that top plane, and I'm going to click Shift E. I'm going to tell it I'm removing the material all the way through, and I'm going to choose this one, this one. I'm going to choose each one individually. Once I have chosen all of them, I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and I'm going to spin this baby around, and look at that, we have created our wheel. And just like that, we've got our train wheel. Now we need to change the material, so we can come over here and we can left click on part 1, right click and assign material, and we want to change the material to PLA. I'm going to do that by clicking on the drop menu, and I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to keep scrolling until I get to the P's, and then I'm going to slow down and look for PLA. That is the type of plastic that our 3D printers run on, and so that's what we're going to set the material as. And now you can change the color of this by either coming over here to your appearance panel, or you can right click on the part and tell it to change the appearance, and you can change the color to whatever you want it to be. I made mine white. Okay, so I made my train wheel white. You can make yours whatever color you want it to be. Once you've done that, right click on the part studio, hit rename, and call it train wheel. Once you've done that, you are completed. That's it. All right, so now you should have your train body and your train wheel. So way to go, good job, and we will see you in class tomorrow.